Hello, I am super excited to be doing this video today. This is the start of a series of videos that I want to do, particularly for my baby girl and any other future children that I have. If you're here and watching, I love you so much. But the reason I've decided to make them public is because they're less likely to be lost and they'll be easier to find. And also I thought if I'm putting the energy and love into this, if it can be useful to anyone else, then I'd really love it to be. So that's why I've decided to do it publicly. That being said, please take into account, if you are listening to this video, that I am just one person. I've been brought up in a certain way. I've had a certain kind of life. I've been around certain kinds of people and had certain experiences. And so the only advice I have is from my own way of being brought up and my own experiences and what I've learned on my journey so far. So that doesn't mean this is anything I say is fact. Anything I say is something you should take on board. So please take what's useful to you, leave what isn't, and understand that this is just a video from my own personal opinion. That is advice that I would like to give on to my children. That being said, if you're watching this video, I really hope that there's something you can take away from it that's really useful to you. So without further ado, let's get started. So today I wanted to talk about how you can get through and connect with someone that's in your life. This could be at school. Maybe you're at school and you're having to sit next to a certain classmate and you're not feeling like they like you. Maybe you're having to sit next to someone at work. Maybe it's an in-law of some sort or somebody else that's related, that someone that you have to be around and that you're not feeling like you've got the best relationship and you really want to improve it and manage to connect with them on some level. One thing that I think is important to say before I start this video is that it's important to know that you do not need to be friends with everyone and you do not need everyone to love you. This is so important because I grew up very much being a people pleaser, and I actually thought, until it slapped me in the face when I heard it on a podcast, I really thought that being a chameleon, as I would call it, was this amazing gift and talent that I had, that anyone I was around, I could just mould to them, and it meant that I got on with everyone and I could make everyone enjoy my company. There's benefits to this, but what do you miss out on? The good thing is, yes, it's great to be what they call a people person and to be able to connect with lots of different people in different ways. That is fantastic, but not at the detriment to you and who you are. And this is something that I suffered with, that later on in life I was having to work out who I was and think, yeah, who the hell actually am I? Because I've always moulded to whoever I'm with to make sure they like me, basically. And like I said, there's lots of positives to having the skills to do that. So that's why I'm happy to share them, because I do think there is a time and place in life where you need them. For example, if you're having to be next to someone for hours and they're very different to you, but you want to be able to connect, or maybe someone has some things where you do connect and other things where you don't, and you just want to be able to get on comfortably with them. You know, there are lots of reasons why it's real positive, but it's important to be mindful that you are being true to yourself and you're knowing yourself, and you're staying in that, because the further we get away from who we are to please others, the harder and longer it takes to get back. And that is from personal experience, I tell you. However, there is a lot of use in having these skills, and whether it's progressing in your career, getting on with people at school, not dealing with any trouble, there's lots of reasons why it's great to be able to connect with people, especially people that are very different to you. It's the beauty of life, you know, we can have connections with everyone and we can disagree with people, we can have differences of opinions on things, but if we can be mutually respectful and get on, then it's really interesting to be around a lot of different people. I think it does such a lot for who you are and for having compassion and empathy and understanding the world and all different points of view. We've all lived very different lives, and underneath all of that, we're all souls that want to connect. So let's get to it. Number one, and the first thing that I would go by, is knowing that everyone will like their experience with you more if they've talked about themselves and they've felt heard. We all want to feel heard in life, and we all want to feel seen. And as soon as you can be that for someone, they are going to relate positively to you. So it's really simple, but make the effort to ask someone or show your interest in someone. Sometimes just asking stuff about them can feel a bit intimidating. And for some people that maybe aren't that trusting in people, they really might pull away and feel like you're being too intrusive, you're asking too many questions. So I wouldn't recommend going straight in with asking people things. It's so specific to the situation you're in. So let's say you're at school and you're in class with someone who's maybe a bit standoffish towards you, short answers back at you, or doesn't interact with you at all, and you want to know how to kind of break that ice and maybe interact with them. Just start noticing things about them. So maybe you'll notice something they mentioned to a friend that they're interested in, or an opinion they have, or maybe they struggle with a certain bit of work, or they're so into their work that they, don't make an effort to connect with you. Or maybe you even have the feeling that they don't really like you. The way to be able to open up a conversation about them is it's always good to come from a complimentary point of view, because that again always makes people feel good. So if it's someone working really hard, maybe be the person that asks them, would you mind showing me how to do this question? That always makes people feel really good. If they're into their work and they value doing well, then they're really going to value the fact that you think that they can teach you something. So that would make them feel really good. You could also, if you hear them talking about a certain interest, you could find a connection. So for example, if it's someone talking about a sport they did on the weekend, maybe you can think of someone in your life that does that sport, and you can kind of bring it up, oh, my brother's girlfriend does that, or oh, I tried that once and it went like this, or whatever, or I'd love to. Yeah, that's actually a good one. If it's something you haven't done, especially like, oh, I'd love to try that. Like, I just haven't ever had the opportunity, or I'd love to do that. Like, and then follow with a question like, oh, do you have to, I don't know, for example, if they've been skiing, oh, I'd love to do that. Like, how many times have you been, or how long did it take you to feel confident? Because it seems like really something that's really scary at first. That sort of thing will really help. So yeah, the first one is listen, be mindful, listen, take note of things they're interested in, and look for some way that you can connect on that and get them talking about something they really are passionate about and enjoy. So that's your first one. The next one that I've kind of touched upon in the last one is actually ask someone for help. It's if you feel it's right, if you feel it's the right sort of person. You don't want to purposely do this and kind of stroke someone's ego if they're the sorts that's going to kind of look down on you. Definitely, I wouldn't recommend this. But if it's someone who's genuinely maybe quiet, maybe standoffish because they're shy, it's just a good way for someone to easily connect with you when they've been given an instruction. So it's not kind of a scary thing for them as well to try and make a conversation or anything if you ask them for help. So it's really useful if it's work or school, where you can specifically just ask their opinion. So if you've written something, just say, or do you mind, like, I just don't know if I'm doing this right, do you mind just having a look and let me know your thoughts? Or can you just check, do you think I've got that right? Or if you're not sure how to do something, would you mind just showing me how to do that, because I can see that you're managing it fine, that sort of thing. So it makes people feel really good to be able to help others. So if you can open a doorway to allow someone to help you, that's a really good first step as well to get talking. The next one is just something to be aware of that's not so much something you can do, although I'm hoping something will come to me once I'm talking about it that I can think of that you can do. But it's to be aware that sometimes people have their own, any way that someone's acting is not specifically about you. There are people who are very mistrusting in others, and this can come from something in their life, their upbringing. They might be wary of people, and they're the people that can sometimes come across really standoffish. It's the same if people are shy. So you can think, oh, they don't like me, or oh, they're not comfortable in my presence. But it can be a fact that someone just isn't comfortable in people's presence that they don't know, and they will either warm to you slowly, or otherwise it's just really important to know that it's not always about you, and to be aware that you can feel, oh, they don't like me, and you can take offence, and then you can put that wall up and also come across in that kind of negative energy way. But if you keep that positive, open energy that's very accepting of someone, however they come, they will slowly warm to you and feel more comfortable in your presence. So sometimes you don't need to do anything. You just need to be there, be your normal, happy self. Show that, you know, if you're talking to other friends or there's other colleagues or people around you, showing that you're an open, accepting, kind person will help someone who struggles with trust or to open up to slowly get more and more comfortable in your presence, and then it should slowly come as well. So be aware that that can be the case for people, and that is not about you. So you don't need to take offence and be aggressive or negative towards them. You can take it that, you know, okay, it's not about me here. I can tell that, you know, they socially maybe need a bit of time, or just maybe might not be as accepting or open to strangers or new people. We also don't all have, you know, the same people, I mean, that we naturally connect with, and that's absolutely fine. Yeah, you don't need everyone to be your best friend. This one might sound a bit weird, but if you have the issue where it's someone who actually you really feel they're quite negative towards you, and they kind of are trying to catch you out, or they don't really like you, or that's the feeling you're getting, this can come from things like jealousy. There might be something about you that they would like to be like. It can come from quite a few different things. But weirdly, when you get that sort of person, sometimes the best thing is to actually give the energy that you don't care. And once they realise that they can't, this is especially if someone is quite a dominant personality and wants you to care about what they think. Once you show that you don't care, or that them making you feel a certain way or trying to make you feel a certain way doesn't work, and that you're going to get on with your day and not care that much about their opinion anyway, sometimes that's actually the key way to their respect. And once they realise that maybe them doing little things to make you not feel as comfortable, when they realise that it doesn't work on you, basically, these little things, subconsciously or consciously, they might not even know they're doing it, but little things that they know that they can do that kind of manipulate or control, once they realise that that doesn't work on you, you've kind of got a thing up, like you don't feel it, and maybe you do, but you know to work on not showing it. I know that's what I've always had, you know, I'm very sensitive, and I would notice a lot of things, and if someone specifically just was being quite kind of rude or offish with me, and it made me feel really uncomfortable, I wouldn't show it, and I'd get on with my day, and it's almost like having your guard up. I wouldn't let them know that their actions bother or upset me. I wouldn't be trying to show like doing everything I can to make them like me. I just act as if it really didn't bother me. You've got to act as if it's literally however they act towards you, it's not going to affect you. You've got your life, you've got your friends, you're happy in your own thing. Sometimes when people see that confidence, they get a newfound respect for you, they know you don't need them, and they feel a lot more comfortable in the end in your presence, and actually then really warm to you. So, but sometimes they have to get through that hurdle of almost trying to see if you'll kind of bend to them and be like wanting to do what makes them like you. Yeah, sometimes once they realise that that's not going to work and you don't actually care, they suddenly really like you, and it can be quite a quick switch. And I feel this is them seeing and feeling your power and your strength from within, and that some people, you know, it feels very safe to be around people who know what they're doing and are solid in their foundations, and so that can be a really powerful tool. And then again, the next one, it is kind of, you have to work out the person, but some people inside, they really struggle with knowing what to say, starting the conversation. If you feel like you're with someone like that and so they're feeling very avoidant, see if they feel a lot more comfortable with someone that talks a lot. I'll give you an example. There was a lady that I used to pass with the dog, and she'd be walking her puppy, and she was very rude and standoffish when I talked to her, because I said hello and, oh, your dog's lovely, like, how old, blah blah blah. And she was really kind of said a few things, but she just wasn't too interested. And I felt very much like she wouldn't want to chat. But we see each other a lot because we walk similar ways. So I didn't let it change me as a person. When I saw her again, I just kept putting that positive energy onto her. So even though she was feeling like she wasn't kind of wanting that, I just thought, I'm not going to be different to who I am. I'm not doing anything harmful. I'm being polite. I'm saying hello. I'm giving the smiles. And I'm almost just giving her all of me. So I just end up talking about something random. I wasn't asking, well, I would say, how are you? But I'd just say something about the dogs, and I'd just be my chatty normal self. And I wasn't making her have to do much talking at all, but I was having a little conversation before we carried on. And the more and more I did this every time I saw her, the more at ease she was when she saw me, the more smiley she became, and the better she became, where she ended up asking me questions or saying things when I got to her. So she'd talk about the weather, she'd make a conversation, and I could see that she actually started really enjoying seeing me. And I feel personally that maybe just socially she was a bit awkward and shy and didn't know how to act in that situation, because it can be quite daunting for people when a random person is like kind of very chatty and everything else, and I don't know what else is going on in her life. It could be anything. But the fact that I saw this beautiful change in her, sometimes you've just got to be yourself and keep showing that you're coming from a good place and you want to send love and positivity into their life. And sometimes just give it a bit of time and you will see a beautiful transformation. The last thing I'd like to say is that if you've tried things and there's someone that you're just never going to win with, that is okay. And you can just be civil and talk to them when you need to, and just leave it be, and be content with the fact that not every person in this world is going to be for you, and you're not going to be for every person, and that is totally fine as long as you're respectful of each other. Be aware that some people, you know, they can have jealousy. There might be someone that hurt them in their life and you've got some similarity, and they're projecting that onto you and, you know, finding it hard to communicate with you, or to build a relationship with you. That's fine, that's their own issue, that's not your problem. You know, there's so many things that it can be that we don't know of. So don't take things personally. Know that you have your own community and your core people, and know that you don't need everyone to like you. If unfortunately you're dealing with someone who doesn't like you and actually is not nice to you on purpose, that's when you need to find a way to move away from that person, whether that be that you explain to someone about maybe moving places or moving classes, or if you're in work, explaining to your manager that you're having issues here that you don't think can be resolved. You know, wherever it is, and maybe you can have a maybe you can move in some way in the company. There's always options, but if you're not getting anywhere and you're feeling negative energy and it's impacting you and your happiness, you can also move away from it. Okay, so that is the last one, move away. Have, respect for yourself and your needs, and you don't deserve to be having anxiety over someone else and how someone else is making you feel if you have tried and you're being a decent person and there's just no winning. Okay, those people are bringing negative energy into your life that you don't deserve or need. So that's the end of this video. I'm so pleased that I've got the chance to do my first video. This is what I really wanted everything to be about, is my actual life advice to my children, or child or children. I think it will be children, but for the moment it's child. To my future children as well, but to you, my little girl. And yeah, this is what I feel is something I'm supposed to be doing, and I'm just really pleased to be here and to be sharing something that I think is important, and to be sharing hopefully what is really useful life advice. Know your worth, be kind, know that everything's not about you, and understand that you and everyone else deserve respect and kindness, whether you have differing opinions, whether you're different in characteristics. There's beauty in that, and it's beautiful to know and get on with lots of different people. The most important thing is having self-respect for yourself, protecting yourself and your energy, and putting goodness out into the world. Loads and loads of love.